Hello Flosstube, my name is Erin. Welcome back to my channel, Three Cats Stitching. I apologize if you can hear some cat noise in the background. Of course, as soon as I sit down to film this video, they all wake up from their snoozes and decide to cause some trouble. My name is Erin. This is my Flosstube channel where I talk about cross stitch. I don't currently have any other sort of needlecraft or crafty hobby. For me at this time, it is just cross stitch. So I have a lot to share with you because my last video was, again, so much longer than I intended it to be from now. I had tried in October when I first started my Flosstube videos to have a bi-weekly schedule, but as the seasons change, illness happens. I've honestly been kind of sick and then well and then sick and then well. I'm sure everybody can relate to that, but it has prevented me from cross stitching. It has prevented me from filming. And you might say, Erin, it is January 8th. Why are you sitting in front of your Christmas tree? And to that, I will say I'm hoping to get a ring light by my next video, whenever that may be, hopefully 2 weeks from now. But my apartment faces east, so to get any sort of good, bright, natural light after noon is quite difficult. So I'm sat very, very close to my window. So the video is bright, and hopefully it doesn't wash anything out too much, but we do still have our Christmas tree up. And since I didn't get to film a video during the Christmas season, I thought I should film in front of it now, and we'll put it away probably sometime this week, and we'll just have no Christmas joy in our apartment. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you all had a fantastic New Year. I loved watching everybody do the 12 by 12. I did not. I actually went to the movies on New Year's Eve, and I watched The Whale with Brendan Fraser, and I just want to say that if you need a good cry, oh, it's the movie for you. I really enjoyed the movie. I've spent a lot of time thinking about it since I've watched it, and I would just really recommend it kind of to everybody, although if there's like death trauma in your life, or if you're kind of uncomfortable with dying, it might not be something to watch, just because, you know, it's a theme of the movie, and it is very much real and in your face while you're watching. But the cast does an amazing job, and I'll be honest with you, I spent probably the last third of the movie weeping while watching. That's what I did, and then I came home, and Bridget from the Museum Stitcher and Megan from the Seattle Stitcher were doing a live, and so I immediately hopped onto that, was talking to everybody, having a great time, and then midnight rolled around and I was all set to start my new start, and then I just fell asleep instead. So I started my start on the 1st. So, preamble out of the way, I have notes today, so if you see me looking down, I apologize. I have a lot of stitching to show. I have quite a bit of fabric haul to show. And then I do have a couple of books to talk about for the first time on this channel, which is quite exciting. Hopefully this video isn't too long. If it is too long, I might take the book talk out and maybe just talk about it on my Instagram. My Instagram is always linked below, as well as the Etsy shops that I have purchased any of this, any of my projects or supplies from, and a list on what I've changed. I kind of have a Google spreadsheet that I just sort of paste in the information that I need for the video, so all of that will be in the link below. I have one more thing to talk to you about before we get into, as Megan the Seattle Stitcher says, starting with the starts. I had a finish. I spoke about it in my last video, but if you have not watched that, if you're new to my channel, I had a finish that was a gift. So I no longer have the physical object, but I finished the stitching, and I also FFO'd it made it into a fully finished object, and I will post a picture of it here. This is from the Just Cross Stitch 2022 Christmas Ornament Edition. It's called Baking Spirits Bright, and it's by Barefoot Needle Arts. I stitched this on an 18 count antique white or I think it's antique white. Pardon me, I'm just looking at my notes. Yes, antique white Aida with most of the call for DMC. A lot of the DMC reds for Christmas, or I should say a lot of the patterns that are Christmas that have that bright, vibrant red, choose DMC 666. But to me, DMC 866 is a much more Christmassy tone. And so I stitched with that instead. My original plan was to make it a pillow, but it was quite big, and I have a sewing machine. I just wasn't really, I've stitched on, or sewed, I guess I should say, with other sewing machines, but I had not yet sewn with this sewing machine, and I want the first project that I sew to be something for myself, so that there's no pressure or timeline if I need some help or guidance from, say, my sister or something like that. So I had sewn it by hand, and it wasn't working out exactly how I wanted, so abandoned ship. I left myself enough margin that I could put it on mat board and make kind of like it's not necessarily a flat fold because it's not standing on its own, and I did do a little bit of twine to sort of hang it. The person whom it was a gift for is my partner's stepmother. We have been trying to bake together for the better part of 3 months, but we plan in advance, and then I'm sick, or she's an elementary school teacher, so she's gotten sick quite a lot, or something has just been happening where the plans fall through, so we didn't actually get any Christmas baking done. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, she is going to show me how to make bread, which I'm very, very excited for, and we will get back to the cookies at a later date. But I gifted this to her, and she loved it, and they have it displayed in their home, and she expressed that she was not ready to put it away with the Christmas decorations, which made me feel very warm and fuzzy. She is a prolific crafter. She does a lot of Cricut work. She knits like nobody's business, and so I feel like there's something special about gifting a crafter or a maker something you've made, and so it was just so nice. Really just like an incredible moment for me to be able to gift her something that I had created, and it worked out the way I wanted it to. And so now we're just going to get on to the actual stitching. Another thing that I have is my book of days, and so I do have these just like stickers, and as you can see, I have been putting things in there. I'm going to talk a little bit about my 2023 plans as I go through this stitching, because I tend to have a focus WIP for the month is my plan, and then like a Sunday stitch, which is like a lesser focused WIP, and then to be able to stitch whatever I want in between all of that. And so we're going to start with our starts, and I need you to promise that you're not going to laugh at my first start, because it is very pitiful. It is not very much, and I haven't worked on it since I started it, which was December 17th, I think. I was just itching to start something, and then I realized some things about myself. So this is Camping Toads by Mama Witch X Stitch. It's going to look like this. I'm stitching it on a 25 count Black Aida, and this is my start. So I just started with the leaves around that sort of border, the foliage around the outside of the toads. I love the colors. I think they're absolutely beautiful, but I have tried to stitch on Black Aida for a number of projects, and I just don't think it's for me at this point in my stitching journey. especially like a very small count, like 25 count. I am only just sort of scratching the surface of getting into higher count fabric. Normally I stitch on 16, 18, or 20 count, normally Aida. So like to just jump in to a 25 count Lugana, I think I said this was Aida before, but it's definitely Lugana, and try to stitch. I just think I need a lot of light, and in the wintertime, light is hard to come by. So this is my first start. The other, I mean, my New Year start doesn't have a lot of progress, but the other start that I had does. I'm just kind of tossing everything to the side as we move through these things, so just please bear with. My next start, which was on the 18th, because that start wasn't really giving me what I wanted, was the Winter Band Sampler by Tiny Modernist. So it looks like this. The one thing that I am going to change is just that sun's face. I don't really like that. So I'm just going to stitch it all in one color. But I think this is absolutely so cute. I started at the top there. And I got what I would think quite a bit of progress done. This is stitched with all the called for DMC on the called for White Chocolate Aida. This is in a 16 count. And so this is what I have done. So I'm not really enjoying the way the white is sitting on this. I mean, even in person, it doesn't show up as bright as I would have liked to. And my issue is like in this photo, the fabric looks a little bit green, but this is just like an off-white cream colored fabric. So all the other colors are showing up quite beautifully. It's just the white that's not. And so down here for the snow on the fence, I swapped out DMC B5200 for Snowy Owl by Leo and Roxy, or now Roxy Floss Co. And I like the way it's sitting a little bit better. And so I'm going to try to use that for the rest of this snow. And I'll use the DMC B5200 in the borders, because this border, like this section of border, repeats at the bottom, and just for it to be uniform, I'll use that. But any white within the project, I'm going to use Snowy Owl for, which leads me into my next project. I had to place an order to Evertote because I am using the Snowy Owl for this, but I have another project in which it is called. Please forgive the fact that this is still in the hoop. I was working on it this morning. I'm going to unravel the fabric so you can see the beauty of it. You might have just seen a touch of it there. My New Year, new start was Autumn Town by Autumn Lane Stitchery. It's so beautiful. My printer ran out of ink. Please don't mind that. So beautiful, but honestly, it was a 6 to 8 week wait for the called for fabric, and nothing that I was finding was really like speaking to me. I love this, but I want it to be bright and fun and maybe a little bit loud. And so I found this beautiful piece of printed Aida at an Etsy store, which we'll link below, and it's called, the Etsy store is called Stitch for Fun, and this colorway is just called Printed Green Aida with a bunch of like buzzwords, like searchable words on it. And so this is the fabric that I'm stitching it on, which is stunning, absolutely stunning. This is a 20 count, and this is my little tiny start in the top left corner. I'm stitching this 1/1 full cross with a Leo and Roxy, or again, Roxy Floss Co. conversion. So I emailed Hannah at Evertote and asked her if she would be willing to produce this for me, and she absolutely came through. I'm going to show you all the colors. Normally I don't show floss, but because I had such a huge amount of Leo and Roxy floss come into my life, I would like to show you, if you will allow me. The one thing that I did change, sorry for that, is the sky color, and I didn't even really change it, I just kept it as called for. So for, like, as you can see, the color of the sky here is quite bright. It is 519 from DMC, and the conversion that Hannah was able to provide me is a floss called Don't Be Blue. It's at the time of this conversion back in December, it wasn't yet listed on the Roxy Floss Co. portion of Evertote, and I just want to show you like the difference. So this is the DMC called for, and this is the way this color sits on the fabric. I just didn't feel like it matched the brightness of all of the other colors. So I have 2 skeins of this, and I am going to use it for another project in the future, but this is the one floss that is the right color. I just think that's so much more beautiful in terms of sky, and the coverage is okay. I don't mind it. If anything, I think, not every tree is full and luscious in fall anyway, so if part of the green is showing a little bit, I don't truly mind. And so we're just going to go through the rest of the floss colors. The 2 colors that I've used that you can see in the pattern are Lawn and Order is this beautiful green that that one little bush is. It's quite subtly variegated too. I don't know if it's going to show up. Maybe it will, very subtly. And then this red, this beautiful, luscious red, is Inappropriate. It's such a gorgeous color. This is in place of the silk that is necessary or called for, I guess. And the silk is variegated. This is not, and I'm hoping that's not too much of an issue. I'm curious because, like, in this corner, there's a lot of that color all in one spot. But I think with the branches and everything like that, it should be okay. And so I'm just going to go through the other floss colors that I have here. There are 2 that are also, as of the emails between myself and Hannah, not on the Evertote website. So I'm going to find those first. The first one is Brazen, and it is, oh, so beautiful. Such a gorgeous color. This is also slightly variegated. Just absolutely stunning. If you are interested in any of the flosses that are not listed, well, Don't Be Blue, Brazen, and this apologies, this one here, which is Rhymes with Orange, you can just reach out to Hannah or anyone at Evertote, and they can get you a custom invoice for the floss. So, oh gosh, they're just so beautiful, are they not? And so I have many more to show you. And so, for fear of this video being 100 years long, I'll just go through them. So this is called Anne, subtly variegated. This, my favorite current Roxy Floss Co. color, Butter Chicken. I have a whole other project stitched in that. This is Creme Brulee, which again is a very subtle variegation between browns and greens. I have Desert Sand, beautiful. There's some charcoal, gorgeous black, brunette, just a very, very dark brown. We have another, this one is called Annie, so it's slightly different than Anne, a bit of a different tone of browny orange. Love that. We have Espresso, beautiful. We have Redwood, which is gorgeous. Betty White, which is also beautiful. And then we have daffodil and yellow there. Oh, I feel so spoiled that Hannah would take this on for me and create this custom color palette. I will leave all of the flosses below. I'll put all of their names below in the section for Autumn Town in case you want to get the conversion for yourself. I would highly recommend it. I think it's absolutely beautiful and I cannot wait to keep stitching on it. And now we're rolling right into my current WIPs that I have worked on. Some of them have gotten a little bit of progress, some of them have gotten a lot of progress, and we'll just roll with the punches here. So first up I have Birds from Bernhard's books. This didn't get a whole lot of progress, but it got some, so I thought I would share that with you. I am stitching this on an 18 count Oatmeal Aida with Roxy Floss Co-Color Chesire. And so I just pulled that border all the way across at the top and started in on that inner border. I know I should probably finish this motif, but I've already stitched it once, so I kind of wanted something a little bit different. And so I'm working on that inner border and pulling it across. So this, you can't really, maybe you can tell, it's a very dark purple with very subtle hints of red. I really like it. I'm stitching this 2/1 full cross. My next project that I've stitched on just a little bit is OwlForest Embroidery's black vintage sampler. It will look like this. I started at the bottom and I'm stitching this on an 18 count let's see, 18 count Vintage Aida. And so I pulled, I don't know that I was very good at taking pictures after my last video, so I don't know that I'll have very many to show, like pictures of what it looked like last time. But here it is. So I was mostly working on that submarine. I got quite a few stitches in there. And I'm really liking this stitch. I just have quite a few monochromatic pieces, so it's quite difficult for me to go from stitching like one piece that's all one color to another piece that's all one color. I'm kind of trying to learn to find the balance that works best for me. Whether, like, I don't think I like a ton of color changes. I don't think I like huge blocks of color. I mean, I love the look of it, but I don't know that I like stitching all of that. And so the next thing that I worked on, I think it was Cam the Stitcher. I will put in here if I'm wrong, but somebody that I watched recently had completed an ornament from the Dimension Gold Collection kit, Christmas Village ornaments, which look like this. And so I started back in June, this one, the Blue House. Yeah, I started it in June of 2022. And I put it away once I got into a bunch of other stuff. And so just seeing that finish really inspired me. I picked it up again. I didn't get a whole lot done because I was losing light and, you know, it's a bit fiddly with the paper pattern and everything like that. And I'm also stitching this on a bigger count. So this comes with 18 count Aida, but I started it on a 16 count, like ice blue Aida. So it'll be a little bit bigger. And there is my progress. So what I did was I pulled over some of these threads because I had one on a needle. As you can see, I have colors on a needle. And I came in and I did the wreath and a little bit of the decor under the windows there. And so, yes, I'm absolutely loving it. I think I convinced myself that it would be really difficult to figure out where I am and reorient myself on the paper chart. But I just picked something to start with. And then it was kind of easy to figure out, in relation to the wreath where things were placed. And so I definitely want to pick this up again, even though Christmas is over. I want to finish this, and I did promise quite a few people the rest of the ornaments in the kit. And so I want to at least have one, maybe two if I'm lucky, of those completed for next year, so that I can gift these things away. And that brings us to my final two WIPs, which are my focus WIPs of the month. So my goal for the year is to have some focus WIPs every month. So I will have one WIP that I try to, at the beginning of the month, set like a realistic goal based on what the month looks like ahead. Whether that's a percentage goal because I have it in Pattern Keeper, whether that's a day goal because I know how many days I'll roughly be able to stitch on it. So that's one goal. And then I'm going to have a Sunday stitch, which will be dedicated every Sunday of the month. I will at least I will get to work on this project at least on Sundays. So that way I kind of have two projects that are maybe obligations, and then the rest of my time can be filled with everything else. So my Sunday stitch, which is something I should be working on today, is an intimate view, which is a kit by Luca S. It is absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. I started up in this corner here, stitching shades of white and off-white on white. And I had intentions to get, a significant portion of this done, which I did do prior to the start of the year. So Sunday was the first was a Sunday, and because I started Autumn Town, I did not work on this, and so I'm hoping to work on this today. So that is where I'm at now. This is stitched on the 18 count kit Aida. I believe it's 18 count. No, it's 16 count. Anyway, I'm stitching this on the called for Aida with all of the kit flosses, and so I came all the way down, and this sort of area here is where, this area here is where the start of her hat will come in, but I have all of this to fill in before I get there with various shades of white and cream and blue. I'm loving this stitch, but I kind of got like a wild hair with starts and everything like that, and so I haven't really picked it up probably in about 3 weeks, and so I'm happy that it's Sunday and I get to dedicate some time to it today, and we'll see how much I can get done. My original goal for this was to kind of get to the midway point across, which I think is about here. I think I have 10, maybe 20 more stitches across to get to the middle point, and then to kind of fill in again everything to where her hat is. But we'll see how much stitching I get done today and the next couple of Sundays. It's a very loose goal. It's just something that I want to try to achieve with, having an intention for a project as I pick it up. Excuse me. Just gonna take a sip of my tea before it gets cold. I have this magical cat mug that I picked up from Marshall's, and it's so big. And when you drink it, all the bottom says the cat likes me best, which I think isn't true for our household. But, I can dream. My next project is my full focus WIP of January. And so I had a couple iterations of goals. It's kind of evolved as the month has progressed because it's stitching up faster than I thought. So it is Jour, which can be found on 2x2 Cross Stitch Arts Etsy store. I will post a picture of it there. I will also post a picture of what it looked like before I started this month stitching because I have so much progress. So I am currently at, or when I started the month, I was at 34.39% finished with 2,876 stitches. And my original goal was 10%. But in the first few days of the month, I got to 45% of the project done because I just went a little bit hard. Very excited about focus whips and things like that. And so I've put in almost 800 stitches. It now looks like this. So I have one motif, for the border. We'll just start there. I've pulled this all the way down, and I have to finish this motif. I have one more that looks like this, and then we're at the bottom. And so this is stitched on, let's see, this is my oldest whip. It was stitched on 18 count antique white Aida with DMC 807. I started this in May 29th, 2022. And so oh my God, I love that color so much. So beautiful. So my goal at the beginning of the year was to get this finished before May 29th, 2023, which is why I kind of went so hard at the beginning of the year. Having a 10% goal was kind of very relaxed for me. I didn't want to put a lot of pressure on myself because, you know, I want stitching to be fun. But when I saw how fast it was stitching up, I kind of changed my tune a little bit. So, oh, she's so beautiful. The stitching in the middle is quite dense and not necessarily difficult, but kind of fiddly. And so what I do when I'm stitching is I stitch 2 motifs in the border on either side because the border is quite repetitive and a little bit, I don't want to say annoying. I think the effect is beautiful, but I'm gonna stitch her if I have a choice. And so I start off by stitching 2 motifs in the border. Sometimes I stitch more. As you can see, I stitched half of one before I was like, hold on, I'm going to stitch the lady. And so my goal now is 10 days of stitching. And 10 days can be anywhere from like 1 length of floss, which is usually about 40 stitches for me, or it can be, you know, I think I've had 340 stitches on this in one day. It just depends on how I'm feeling. And so I've stitched on her for 5 days and I've gotten 800 stitches and like, you know, 11% completed. So I'm thinking if I stitch 5 more days throughout the month, she'll get over the 50% mark, and then I can pick her up again, maybe as a focus whip in March or April or even May, and we'll get her done before her first birthday, and then I can start La Nuit, which is the companion piece. There was a lot of preamble about that particular piece, and about my plans for the year. I do have factored in to my plans both a new start, should I wish, each month, as well as an ornament choice. So I bought the 2022 and the 2021 Just Cross Stitch magazine ornament, Christmas ornament editions, because I do really want to give away things that I make next year. Like, I'm thinking into the future, and I can't give or stitch everybody a dimensions ornament. It's just not gonna happen. And so there are a lot of really small, beautiful stitches in those magazines, as well as a million Etsy patterns. And so I'm gonna give myself the option to either stitch on one that I'm currently stitching on, to start a new one every month, to FFO one. That could be the goal that I can tick off, whatever it may be. I haven't yet started an ornament this month, so I might use my stitching on the ornament that will be mine as the goal I can tick off. And I do, yes, allow myself a new start. I have a lot of patterns, and I've been bulking up my fabric stash, and I have a ton of floss, and so I can throw together some kits to start some things if I want to. I also have implemented a stitchy budget for myself. I don't want to spend more than $35 a month on stitching this year. 2022 and 2021, when I found stitching and fell in love with stitching, I spent a ton kind of creating a stash. I now have a stash and I hope the goal of minimizing my spending will encourage me to kit up again things that I have. That $35 is for perhaps a piece of fabric that I have to have for a project, or to fill in the blanks in terms of floss that I need for a project, those kinds of things. I did, however, blow my stitching budget this month on a Dimensions kit on Stash Unload. It was $25, so I still have $10 to pick up floss should I need it. But that will be in my next video, so I can talk to you about that. And then as a Christmas gift to myself, I placed another order on Evertote. So that will be my next video too. But I am going to move into all of the fabric that I've purchased in the last couple of weeks. It's a lot, but I do feel very confident in my stash now, as a way to kind of move into kitting all of those projects and patterns that I've purchased. Okay, so the first thing that I have to show is a Dimension, or it's Creative Accents kit. It's I hope the glare isn't too bad. I'm not going to take it out of the plastic because the plastic is open. But it is Frederick the Literate, which is a sleepy kitty in a library. I did just say that I don't like stitching on Black Aida. This is absolutely stitch on Black Aida. It is the kit, so it comes with everything included. It comes with 14 count Black Aida, so perhaps that will be nicer. When I first started stitching back in 2021, I saw that kit and I said, I need to have it. But the kit is and was relatively expensive for something, you know, it wasn't something I was willing to spend money on until I knew that this was a hobby that I was falling in love with, gonna finish, because this is a lot of stitching. It's a lot of stitching on black. You know, everything that I stitch is a lot of stitching. I have a lot of fairly big projects. And I found it on Stash Unload. There's a Canadian group for, you know, only Canadians, so that I find a lot of people on like the American Stash Unloads don't want to ship to Canada because it's quite expensive. So yeah, I completely understand. So that's the kit that I have. And then obviously I've purchased the Roxy Floss Co conversion. I purchased that big piece of fabric for that project, as well as the pattern. But I also kind of accidentally purchased a smaller piece of the green fabric. The seller was actually very kind. I purchased this and I didn't read how big it was because I was just like, that's a perfect fabric, I need it, buying it, whatever. And so I didn't pay attention to sizing, so I needed to buy a second piece, and she just combined shipping and shipped it all at once for me. So this again is just that printed green fabric. Oh, it's so beautiful. I don't know that I will stitch anything else on this fabric. I feel like it is a piece designated for Autumn Town. So this might show up in, you know, a future giveaway if I hit like a milestone in terms of subscribers, or my Flosstube anniversary, whichever happens. So if you want that fabric, again, I will link the shop down below. Quite affordable. Just be wary about the sizing because they have each size like listed as like it's in a drop down. You can pick the size of fabric that you want, and I just misunderstood what was happening. And then I also picked up this one, which is again printed fabric. This I think is called Blue. Let's see. It's called Blue Dyed Effect. So they're not given like names or anything, just like it's dyed. And what I really want to stitch like a monochromatic piece in like white on this, but I just don't know what piece yet. So I got those. And then my favorite place to order fabric from is called Millions of Stitches. They're quite local to me. They are in Toronto, and I'm kind of about an hour away from Toronto. So like shipping costs really don't bother me. And I had previously placed an order and there was a stain on a piece of the fabric. It's definitely something that like I will not lose a lot of the fabric if I cut it out. It's still definitely workable. I had sent her a message just to kind of let her know like, hey, like no big deal, I'm still gonna use the fabric or whatever, but just maybe take a look at the other pieces that you have in case they also have this stain. And she got back to me and said that, yeah, it was kind of an issue with the supplier, and she gave me a 10% discount code. And so I used it, and I bought a ton of fabric. Most of this is Aida, some of it's Zygarde. It's 18 and 20 count. And so I'll get the thing out of the way first. I did, in fact, buy even more 25 count Black Lugana. This is a massive piece. It's 27 by 19, so it's huge. Because Mama Witch X Stitch is the most, she does the most. She is the best. I love her so much. I love her designs so much, and they're all on black, and I want to stitch them on black. So I'm preparing for when I feel capable of that. Then I bought a 20 count white opal Aida because I saw Laura from Stitching on the Shore. She did the Christmas Tree Farm by the Prairie Schooler, which I have, and I tried to stitch on like a 25 count or something. It was very small. She had stitched hers on an opal fabric, and I thought that is absolutely beautiful. Really interested in that. So I'm gonna borrow that idea, and then I also saw somebody change up the house colors so they're not all red, and so I'm gonna borrow that idea as well and stitch that on, oh, this gorgeous piece. The sparkle is showing up so well, and that's what I'm gonna do. You always need more white Aida, so I also just got regular old white 18 count Aida. I purchased a piece of 20 count mocha or light mocha Aida. It was beautiful. I realized I didn't have a lot of like neutral colors. I pick certain color families that I have a lot of. So this is just kind of building out my stash, obviously. I also picked up an 18 count beige, which I'm excited for. I don't really have anything planned for these pieces. I just know that there's something in my stash that will look good on it. And then I bought a 28 count because again, Bridget and Megan in their live were very encouraging about me trying higher count fabric. And so I bought a 28 count Lugana, and this is called Laurel Green. And I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And stitching 1 over 1 would be a bit much, so this is definitely a good piece for me to practice my either 2 over 2 or 1 over 2 stitching, which really excited obviously about that. And then I have 2 more pieces of fabric. So I have an 18 count ivory, which I love. I think this is beautiful too. And then the last one that I have is a 20 count light taupe. So I think I have my strawberry bell pull is stitched on this, and I love this color so much that I picked up another piece of it. So that is all that I have to share with you. I think I am going to put my book talk on Instagram. So if you want to see what books I'm reading and what I'm saying about them, please follow me on Instagram. It's just 3 Cat Stitching, linked below, as well as, again, everything I talk about here. The shops that I talked about, I'll have a list of my patterns that I'm stitching that I've showed, as well as the Leo and Roxy floss conversion that I've shown as well. So all of that goodness will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time to spend with me today, wherever you are in the world, whatever day it is. I've really been enjoying everybody's WIP parades. I feel a little bit left out because I had filmed my WIP parade in October as my first video. But I'm just living vicariously through everybody and creating a mental list of all of the patterns that I want to buy whilst sticking to my budget. If you have any questions, any comments, I would love to hear them. You can either put them down below, or you can send me an email, 3catstitching@gmail.com, and I would love to hear from you. I hope that I don't get sick again, or that there's anything that prevents me from filming a video within the next couple of weeks. But I'm just going to be stitching on what I'm stitching, and hopefully have some more progress to share with you. I love you very much. I miss this community so much. Being away was really hard, but I am active in like Facebook groups and on Instagram. And I guess one final note before I say goodbye is that there is a stitch-in happening in my city at the end of the month on a Sunday, which I think will be after my next video. It's the Hamilton Stitch-In. Caroline from Evertote and Friday Off the Grid might be there because it's her friend that runs it. I snagged a spot. I'm going. And oh my gosh, it'll be my first stitchy event. I'm a little bit nervous, but I am so excited. I cannot wait to go. I cannot wait to meet people, say hi, etc. But we can talk about that again, and we'll see how I feel in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. Goodbye.